Our new subject line is analysis patterns, and this is Martin Fowler, who started this concept with his book Analysis Patterns. And but when you look at this website, it is no longer on the upfront. I would say you cannot see it. Maybe, but there are some nice PDFs around here. Look over here, analysis patterns. He has some other books I will also mention at a later time, domain-specific languages. I think that is something worthy to mention, and somehow related to, to patterns. And there's this patterns of enterprise application architecture. I think this is something interesting as well, enterprise patterns. Anyone heard about that? Enterprise patterns is also, but we don't have time for that. Anyway, if you click on this, on this website, this is the book, and I believe there are some well, I don't know where it is, but if you search, you can find some extra information. I don't know exactly where. You will be able to find a lot of information that that he's sort of correcting or adding extra things on analysis patterns in this website. There are several articles there. Some of them are exactly the same as the book, but there are some extensions. There are some new things on it. I can recommend it to you. You probably will be able to find it. So basically, it is the same thing, like with the idea, the same idea, patterns, but this time it is in analysis, during the analysis. When you're doing the analysis work, there are some patterns over there. So let's start. I mean, it's best to go and start. So this is not the pattern I'm talking about actually at the moment. That he's talking about this as if it is a pattern, like a hierarchy pattern. Maybe, but it is, it is so simple. Normally what you have a person, for example, a department, a division. So you have this configuration for an organization chart. So this is what he calls obvious, but maybe this is not so obvious. This is an organization which is having some relations within itself. For example, you are keeping within the same class that person or that department, the child of that particular department. So this is how you do it. And well, but the problem is it going to be the department or the organization or the person? Who is this? So he gives, in all of his books actually, he talks about this party. So a person in an organization, well, it's a party. So like in a, for example, in an address book, some things are organizations that you keep a telephone number, like a hotel or something, or there are also some people. So to be able to keep them in the same place, same location, he's proposing this. It's a person or an organization, but you know, both is inheriting the party. So some of the things are obviously similar, like the telephone number, address, and stuff like that. But one is a person, the other one is an organization or a department or whatever. So, well, then he's applying. Well, I know that these things are very simple. It's going to get very interesting very soon. He's saying, okay, then there are two ways to apply hierarchy on this in the form of the party. Either if you're thinking that the organization or the hierarchy can be only applied to the departments or organizations, you can do it over here. You can apply this self-referencing link over here, or you can do it over at the parties at the super type level, so it can be either a person or an organization. Okay. Well, as you know, I was talking about this organization, and organization could be a company, a division, a department. So you can have, again, subtypes of that. And, of course, you can have multiple hierarchies. That means that you can, for example, have a class, and you're going to have as if you have your class organization, and under this class you would be having you can have different hierarchies. That means, for example, you have an organization where you have regional hierarchies and functional hierarchies. So what you're going to have is, you will again be having an organization type and regional child, and again another one, functional child. By this, what I mean is, for regional, like in some companies, there are I don't know, like Microsoft, you have the headquarters in Seattle, yes, of course, and then you have somebody, a general manager, and under him there are divisions and different people. So this is regional. So you're reporting to somebody in Seattle, and some people in this organization reporting to him directly. But at the same time, I don't know, maybe there's somebody who's responsible of, what was it, SharePoint. He's also reporting to someone in Seattle as well, or somewhere else. So this is called the matrix organization. I don't know, maybe you've heard of it. So they are reporting to people. Like administratively, you are reporting somebody local, but functionally you're reporting like you're responsible for that function, or you're responsible for that sales group. Then you're reporting to someone else. So in order to be able to keep different hierarchies, there might be different hierarchies. It doesn't have to be, of course, an organizational chart. It can be something else, when you want to apply these. So you can have a multiple number of childs, and you can also have parents as well. Regional child, you can have a regional parent, so that you will be able to keep, because this way you can only go one way. So this is one-way street. But if you keep also the parents, then you can go both ways. That you can find the child and the parent of each division or department or company. Okay? So far so good. These things we know. But then the problem starts. If there will be a case that we have, you know, if we have, like, if we had the regional, functional, and we have, for example, something else and maybe more, or we want the flexibility to be, you know, we envision that we see that there will be more hierarchies possible along the way, can be added, or should be added in time. Or, you know, you don't want to name these things like that, but you want them to be flexible. That you know, I don't want to call this regional or functional hierarchy by default. The customer wants to be able to edit them. Okay, it will go there and it will edit it. It's no longer a regional something. I want to add 5 different hierarchies, for example. And then I decided I want to add 2 more, and all of them I will name myself. Okay, so if you want this kind of a flexibility, then he suggests this. So again, we have a party, which is, as we saw, which can be a person, which can be a company, a division, a department, whatever it is. This is the super type of all of these groups. And we have an accountability. This accountability is actually doesn't have a name, I would say. You know, this is not a real world object. This is a real world object. This is the accountability type. The type is regional. The type, for example, could be functional, could be anything. It is the one that you're naming the names. And this one is just to be able to link this and this together. So it doesn't have any name. You will probably not going to name them. You will just, you know, keep them without any name or meaningful name, without any meaningful human readable name. That means what I mean is you need an extra class to keep. Wait, I had this. So I have an extra class to be able to link the party with the accountability type. In my accountability, this is the class that's keeping the connections. It has a parent, it has a child. It's linking a parent, a child with an accountability type, actually. It's not doing anything else. It's only linking parent, child, and accountability type. And you create it like this. And what happens is, for example, if I'm going to run this, I will have a parent and a child. So I will say I have a person. I don't know. I need a name starting with B. Parrot. I don't know. It can be this. I mean, it doesn't need to be an organization. Maybe it is it's in the zoo, and we're talking about. I don't know. It just came to my mind. Anyway, I have this parrot. I have this monkey. I like funny examples. All right, these are my. This is a party. This is a party. New animal, and this is also a new animal. So what? I don't know. I have a relationship, accountability type. I don't know what kind of relationship these two would have. Friends, maybe?
Friendship.
Yeah, it is the type.
Parents. Parents.
Friendship. So I enter, you know, this is where I initialize it. So I call this is a friendship type. So you see, I can enter, I can change it. You're gonna say something?
Yes, friendship doesn't really imply two roles for either part of the relationship, parent-child.
Yeah, you're right. We need something else.
Family.
We are in a zoo. Yeah, functional, okay. These are organized, this is an organized zoo. They have some rules. So, what was it? Functional? They have a functional relationship. And what you have to do, of course, I'm creating an accountability type. No, accountability with, you see, I don't have to name this, actually. It's not necessary, but you can, during the real code, you can just create some random number for, I mean, I don't know, you don't have to, you need a temporary, let me show it this way, accountability, like we say temp, this is temporary, alright? So I create this new accountability, and I'm giving this parrot and monkey and functional. Okay, I gave it to them. So this is temporary, as I said. Why this is temporary? Because I will be giving this parrot set accountability. I will give it to you see, what I'm doing is actually normally where you keep this accountability is within these people. So you keep them in here, and when you ask parrot, okay, what kind of relationships you have, or what kind of hierarchies you have, you can get all of those hierarchies, and then probably it is not set, it is add. It's better word. This is add accountability. So I'm adding this kind of an accountability, and I'm saying, give me, for example, I can say things like, give me all of your childs in all types of accountabilities or relationships or hierarchies, and it gives me all of the childs, and probably I will be able to also get the types of those, like functional, regional, stuff like that. Or I can say, give me your parents, and your childs, because it is not maybe one, right? Maybe you can have multiple parents, you can have multiple children. Then what happens is you get a list for a certain type of hierarchy. So that is why you don't need to keep that. I mean, this is, you're not probably keeping accountability types as an object in a collection, and you don't do that probably. You most probably be getting the person or the party name. That objects will be keeping their own accountabilities. This class will be kept within the party, within person, within organization, department. Those objects will be keeping them inside, and then you will be asking them, okay, what type of a relationship, and who is it? Is it a parent? Is it a child? That's how it works. Okay, so it gets a little more complicated than this. But let me see, what was the next slide? Well, the next slide is exactly, the full picture that we have. We had this party type. We can have a party type, of course. we can have the party. This is organization. This is person. You know, and this one is explaining what type of party is that. Let us see an example. For example, I have Istanbul sales, I have Marmara sales, I have a general sales, for example. So these are the parents. Like this is regional type of accountability, and this is a functional type of an accountability. And this is how it keeps. And as I say, I'm keeping these information in these objects, in these objects. So, as I said, things might get more interesting. What time is it? Okay. So you can have you want to have a connection rule, for example. So you say, I want to be able to keep a certain knowledge base about the hierarchies that I'm going to have, and these are rules that somebody will enter the rules, and those rules will be kept in my memory. And when somebody else, during the operation, during the day-to-day operation, when somebody is entering a relationship, entering the party terms, okay, this is a person. It's all about persons, for example, but one person is a doctor, one person is a nurse, another person is a patient, okay? So I keep all of them. And I know the types, the party types, nurse, doctor, everything. And I have certain rules about them, some connection rules. And during the operation, I want a check, an error check, to say, no, you cannot do this type of a accountability relationship between a doctor and a patient, for example. So how am I going to do it? But maybe I have to give you more example about that. Maybe I'm setting up a. I think I had a. Yeah. Maybe, okay, I have an appointment. This is my accountability type. That appointment could be only between a doctor and a hospital. I would say that doctor has an appointment in this hospital, so that means that my doctors are able to work in different hospitals. I have another one, a connection rule. This type is a consultant in a hospital. Patient, I can have patient care type of accountability between a patient and a consultant. So I want to have a backup again. So this is a hospital example, as you understand. So I want to be able to connect appointments. Doctors will be having appointments in hospitals. They will be appointed to some rooms that they will be taken care of. Some nurses will be appointed to some doctors, and some nurses will be appointed to some patients. And patients has a relationship with doctors, and it goes on like that. So I want that kind of flexibility, because I don't know, maybe there will be more types of people. Like there will be some special physicians doing the MR, magnetic resonance. I don't know what they call it in
MR.
hospitals. No, there's a radiography. Yeah, radiography, I guess. So you have a different kind of an appointment. So you create different rules for them. Who can connect to who? A doctor cannot take care of a room, for example. The doctor will not be taking care of a nurse. The doctor will be taking care of a patient. You know, that all those relationships. So what I require, a connection rule depending on the party type. So that will tell me that if a certain two types of parties are allowed to have a relationship as a parent and a child. So this is what it is. I want to have, like, I will tell that, okay, what is allowable for patient care? A doctor can look for, you know, a doctor could take care of a patient. You might say that, okay, maybe a nurse got sick, so that's another case. He's from now on not only a nurse in my database, he is also or she is also a patient, because I will be keeping different sets of data for that object. Okay, is this clear? So the requirement is this. I want this kind of a check. So what I do, I again have this accountability, you know, this guy over here, it's keeping, you know, it's like invisible, I tell you. It doesn't have a name. It's temporarily, you are, you know, as I wrote it down here, you're creating it temporarily and then you're putting it in one of the objects and it stays there. So I got this accountability. Maybe I have a time period because, you know, we're talking about now appointments and that sort of things. I have this party, parent, child. This is the same as you see. And this accountability type, this was the same, exactly the same. So what I added is this party type, connection rule, and this linked. And in here, I have the connection rules. This one is keeping, this is also some temporary or not unnamed stuff that you just enter, you know. Imagine that you see a screen and you're entering those from the pull down menus, okay? You press what is allowable. Parent, you pull down, you click on the pull down menu, and what happens, you got all the party names, party types, doctor, nurse, patient, room, whatever. You select one, so this can be the parent. Then there is the child combo box. You press it. There is a list, and you say, okay, this is a patient. So that means that doctor and patient can have a relationship. And then you select the accountability type. You click on it. You select it, like, you know, or you type it, for example, maybe, and then you save that. And that's in your database, you know, it is done. So in here I'm keeping what is allowable. So what happens is, during the creation of this accountability, I go and check the connection rule if I'm allowed to do this link or not. If not, I will say, no, you cannot do this. No? I don't know. Was it clear, or? I think I like this. You know, if somebody were to ask me to have this kind of a, you know, if I were to get this kind of a requirement, probably I wouldn't be thinking of this, honestly. But this solution is something that I like. I'm keeping, you know, and it is expressed just in this form. Is it clear, or do you need some? Please, I mean, honestly, if it's not clear, we will go over the code as well a little bit. So I talked about that. Anyway, this is simple.